Alrighty, here we are making a video. This video is about making bread. I saw a video. The purpose of this video is I saw a video on YouTube about making bread in the Dutch oven. Now I really felt bad for this guy because the guy made what looked like a beautiful loaf of bread in his Dutch oven, but when he took it out to show everybody, he tried to hide the bottom of the bread, and it was clearly just black as black as a frying pan. I felt so bad for the guy. If I was the guy, I would have just said, "Hey, look at my loaf of bread over here." And it's not letting anybody see the back, or at least did a better job of editing the video. And I said, well, there's got to be a better way to doing this. Obviously, the bread burnt because it was touching the bottom of the kettle. So you come up with a way to make sure the bottom doesn't touch the kettle. I got this old bunt pan right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the bread inside this bunt pan inside of the black cast iron Dutch oven. That is a 12-inch deep Dutch oven. Normally bread is baked in this one right here, which is also a 12-inch, but it's not a deep one. Normally it goes here. You got the deep Dutch oven, which is for stews, and you usually have these smaller size Dutch ovens they call it a bread Dutch oven. And that is because the heat from the charcoal is closer to the bread. But I know that I have a 2-pound loaf of bread I'm baking today, and it's going to rise pretty high. So we're going to use a deep one and just add more coals. We're going to put the bread in that. So what we need to bake our Dutch oven bread is we need some dough. Obviously, okay. I made this. I cheated a little bit, okay. I have in the back of this video. I'm going to show explain how I actually came up with the dough, how I made the dough. It's just basic Italian bread. But when a shit hits the fan situation, you have to do it the old-fashioned way, and that's easy enough to do. You don't need me explaining to you how to make bread. How to make the bread dough per se. But I will show you how I made this dough. I could give you the recipe to make a 2-pound loaf. That's really all it is. But if the shit does hit the fan, you don't have electric, you're gonna have to just use a cutting board and make your own dough the old-fashioned way. This is what you can need also. You need a thermometer because a done loaf of bread has got internal temperature of 200 degrees. And this is going to make sure that we have that. And we need our coals, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the coals up in here. I know by this number that normally on a normal Dutch oven I would need 12 minus 3, 9 coals go on the bottom. And 12 plus 3 would be 15. That's how much goes on top. But since we're doing a deep Dutch oven, I'm going to add 3 more coals. So I'm going to add 2 to the bottom, 1 more to the top. We're going to add 2 to the top and 1 more to the bottom. But I have a fear that this is going to burn. So if I put too many coals on top, so I'm going to put the extra coals on the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to put those coals in there. I'm going to start this up, and while I'm going to wash my hands. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to see. I'm going to take all this out. Take that out. Take this out. This is my kit. Now, how this is going to work. Really trying to help me get in it. Okay. How this is going to work. I'm going to put the coals on. I'm going to put the bread in here. And it's going to be like a bonnet. I know. I need something a little bit better, but this is all I have. That's going to fit right in there. Okay. I'm going to put the bread in. I'm going to let it rise about half hour while these coals are getting set up. And once the coals are set up and this is risen enough, I'm going to put the coals on the bottom, put the coals on top, and then we're going to bake the bread. So let me start this right away. So obviously what we got to do, sprinkle a little flour. Sometimes the bread comes out of the bread machine a little sticky. Again, I use the bread machine to save some time. Okay. Okay. pushing down the loaf. The bread is a little sticky. Just folding it in on itself, just kind of push it down and get the air out. Okay. Okay, the air's out. Take this. A little cooking oil. Now, I really don't want my bread to look like a bonnet, you know. I really don't want to bake it in this thing, but whatever. I don't have anything else right now, so I'm just going to pop this over. Okay. And I'm going to put this, it's warm outside today, so it should only take a half hour anyway. I'm going to put this right in the pot and just let it rise for about a half hour. And by that time, the coals will be good. I know a lot of people are thinking out there, you're probably thinking, well, you know, why is he even doing this? Why not just go to the store, buy bread, you know? And the object of this video is to demonstrate that, you know, when the shit does hit the fan, if the shit hits the fan, you know, you're going to have to rely on alternative cooking methods to bake bread. You're not going to just be able to go out and buy it. You're going to have to bake it yourself. And if you have no electricity, this is one of the methods that you're going to have to bake your bread. Just like as if you were camping. If you wanted to bake fresh bread out on the, you know, out in the field, if you were out camping or whatever. This is the method that you would use to do it. So I'm just showing you today that if the shit hits the fan, or when it hits the fan, depending on who you ask, that you still have, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be a hard world to live in, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And you have to rely on yourself for these simple pleasures that are actually a necessity. Things that we take for granted, like obviously fresh bread. It's starting to rise pretty good already. It's only been 5 minutes. Again, the reason why I'm using this bonnet tray, because, you know, I can't tell you how bad I felt for that guy on YouTube who baked the bread and didn't have, see, there's a little space, I don't know if you can really tell. This keeps the bread off the bottom of the kettle here, of the Dutch oven. And the reason why the guy's bread burned so badly is because the bottom of the bread was touching the bottom of the Dutch oven and it just scorched. I can't tell you how terrible I felt for this guy, but, you know, it's, yeah, I guess you live and learn. Okay, about a half hour has went by and we are ready to add the coals and start cooking. After we add the coals, it should take about a half hour. Okay, I got 10 coals on the bottom and the rest of the coals I put on top here. And I'm going to come back. It should take about a half hour, 35 minutes to cook this. This is going to create about 350 degrees into this oven. I'm going to come back about a half, about a half hour should be done. I'm going to come back in about 20 minutes or 15 minutes when the bread has risen completely. I'm going to stick in the probe for the digital thermometer and wait till it's 200 degrees on the inside of the bread. The internal temperature should be 200 degrees and our bread is done. And then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so it rose all the way. Okay? So now we're going to stick the thermometer in there halfway. And says it's 99 degrees. We got a ways to go. Maybe 20 minutes. Now it's 104 degrees. Let's put this back on. And spin it a little bit. You know, one thing I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass about over here is I completely forgot to do an egg whitewash and put sesame seeds on there. I'm going to have to beat up some egg whites. And I don't like the egg yolks in the bread. That's enough of that. I'll get another one. There we go. Just like that. See that? The egg whites kind of give it a nice glaze. You know, problem with fresh bread, homemade bread, is that you really don't have the same ovens that they do in the bakeries. Bakery gives it a, you know, different kind of a crust than you get really with homemade bread. Well, the homemade bread's very good. It doesn't usually get as dark. But the egg whitewash, I mean, another way to make it dark is you can do it, you know, what they're doing is they're really just adding, like, moisture or humidity into the oven, and the moisture in the oven settles on top of the bread and it draws the sugars out. And when you get a nice brown crispy loaf of bread, it's actually caramelized sugar or sugars on the crust to give it that nutty flavor and it makes it brown and delish. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to simulate that with the egg white. Just got to beat it up real quick. And then I'm going to sprinkle some sesame seeds over it. So let's, I wish I did this before, but you really do this after the sun rising. I don't know why, you know what, I'm sick for the last couple of days. I'm stumbling over my words. You know, I really don't have a clear head right now, but I'm just going to make the best of it. I'm going to brush this on. I hope it's not too late. But this is going to brown up the loaf a little bit better. That's kind of the trick to making delicious, well, one of the tricks to making delicious homemade bread. Let's put a good amount of this on here. These eggs are actually from my chicken coop, so it's got to be good, right? You want just enough, really. Where's the lash? You want just enough to keep it moist enough to hold on to the. Get some. Let's get some sesame seeds on there. Don't you love that knife? At this point. Just sprinkle this on. And this will give it some nice. Let her roll. Alrighty, let's see how we're doing over here. That's starting to look pretty darn good, isn't it? Let's get that in there. See where we're at. 198. I think I'm about ready to call it. 199. I'm going to call it 200 degrees. That's what we want. So let's take this bad boy out. I tell you, I hope this looks good, man. I love fresh bread. I sure hope it's not burnt on the bottom. Well, probably could have used more coals on the bottom. But you know what? At least it's not black, right? Ooh, that's hot. Okay, we're going to let that cool. And, it's not too bad. It's not the best, but it's not too bad. Let's let this cool for like 20 minutes. You know, there's no way I'm gonna say it. This is the best bread in the world. It really didn't come out to it. Like a little more crusty on the bottom, but you know, it's a work in progress. But you know what? We're gonna try a piece anyway. Probably hasn't cooled enough, but I'm just being really impatient. So I'm just gonna dive right in. It's a little moist, but then that's because it hasn't cooled enough. Okay? But, yeah, that's good. I'll tell you, this is good. This is really good. This is that's mozzarella, fresh mozzarella. It's got balsamic vinegar on it. Piece of tomato. This is good. Now, even though the bread didn't crisp up like I like it, it's really good. Now, okay, so that's how the bread looks. Okay, this is just really good. You like it, right? Is it good? Now, I did cheat a little bit. I baked the bread in the oven, the Dutch oven. I made the dough in the bread machine. If you're out camping, or just feel like playing with your Dutch oven, you want shit hits the fan, you don't have electric, you know, you make the dough the old-fashioned way, like your grandma used to do it. But I made the dough in the bread machine. It's easy. You know, I just throw all the ingredients in. Let me tell you what these ingredients are. For a 2-pound loaf, 4 cups of bread flour. It's got to be bread flour. Excuse me. 12 ounces or a cup and a half lukewarm water, about 90 degrees-ish. 1 teaspoon of salt. It could be kosher salt, it could be sea salt or table salt. I like using kosher salt. 1 teaspoon of sugar. 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And for the bread machine, you got to use bread machine yeast. What comes out better with bread machine yeast? It's 2 teaspoons of bread machine yeast. Fleischmann's, I think, makes it. You put that in the bread machine, put it on the dough setting, and let it do its business. When the dough comes out, you do exactly what you saw in the rest of this video. But this bread, although it's didn't crisp up like I wanted it, I know for the next time I'm just going to put more coals on the bottom, maybe a couple more. This way it's a little more even all the way around. But the inside, it's just spongy. It's I can't stop eating it. So delicious, and it's hot too. Want another piece, honey? Come on. There you go, baby. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate your time and attention. Delicious loaf of bread, and good luck to you. Peace.